At the beginning, we are introduced to a girl named Wednesday, and it was her inaugural day at school. She's no ordinary girl, evident from her actions. At school, she opens her locker to find her brother tied up inside. As she opens her brother and suddenly goes in deep thought and sees the boys who tied her brother and moves to them to teach them a lesson, and they were practicing swimming, and she leaves many fishes in the pool that can bite. The boys come out of the pool, but one boy couldn't, and a fish bites his foot, and the school terminates her after this act. She hasn't done this for the first time, but she got terminated from many schools. That's why her parents were taking her to an academy, because the kids like Wednesday read there. The kids who act strangely, and she doesn't want to go there, but she has to. Now we see the scene of the forest nearby the academy where a hunter comes for hunting. He moves inside the forest and then sits at a place and have tea. Suddenly, something attacks him and ends him brutally. Wednesday and her parents reach the academy and go to the principal. This principal was also an outcast like Wednesday. People having magical powers are included in the outcast. The kids like those read in this academy. Wednesday's roommate has colored her room, but Wednesday doesn't like this because she just like black color, and seeing the environment, she becomes rude. Then her roommate asks her, "Is she all right?" She asks what happened. Her father replies, "My daughter is strange and boring, just considers her an alive corpse." Hearing this from her father, Wednesday starts staring at him. Her roommate was showing her the academy. Meanwhile, a boy arrives and asks for her Facebook ID, but she says, "I don't like any social media account, because social media is just a disease to rot in your bones, nothing else." Before leaving, Wednesday's mother says, "Now you will never escape," but she says, "I promise you I will soon escape from here." While leaving, her father drops a hand there to spy on Wednesday. In the forest, the police go for an investigation and find the hunter's body pieces at different places. This didn't happen the first time, but this happened the third time that someone is killed in the forest nearby academy. Wednesday removes all the colorful things from her room and asks her roommate to be silent in the room because this is the time for her to write a novel. But she starts dancing while playing a song that makes Wednesday furious, and she asks her to stop it, and the roommate starts scaring her while showing her paws. Then a teacher arrives, who is nice and gives Wednesday a flower to welcome her. The next day, Wednesday was going somewhere, and the hand her father dropped was watching her secretly. Meanwhile, a statue was about to fall on Wednesday, but a boy named Xavier saves her at the right time. She gets faint in this hustle and bustle, but when she awakes, she asks Xavier, instead of thanking him, that "Don't hope that I will be thankful to you, because you have done wrong while saving me. You stopped my death." But Xavier says, "I know you since we were 10 years old. We met, we were playing, and I hid in a coffin. Just as they were about to set it on fire, you saved me, and today, I have saved your life." Wednesday comes to her room and feels something on her bed. As she removes the quilt, she sees the hand and captures it, then asks it, "Who are you, and what are you doing here?" It says, "Your father has asked me to spy on you. He dropped me here," but she asks it to work for her from now, and she will keep it imprisoned in her drawer forever. It agrees for this and says, "Okay, I will help you in all ways." The next day, the principal takes Wednesday to a psychiatrist because her mental balance didn't seem well. She makes an excuse and opens the window with the help of the hand and runs from there. While running, she collides with a man, and in her thought, she sees this man will got into an accident, in which he will die brutally. But she doesn't tell that man anything about it, because she likes murders and destruction. She goes to a hotel and meets a waiter who is looking worried because his coffee machine got damaged. Wednesday says, "I can repair your coffee machine, but in return you have to drop me at the station." He agrees for this, and Wednesday repairs his machine, but he asks her to wait and says, "We will go after my shift." Wednesday was sitting there and waiting, but then few naughty boys arrive and start teasing her, due to which he becomes furious, so she beats them and teaches them a lesson. Meanwhile, that waiter's father arrives. Seeing the destruction, he asks his son, but he replies nothing. Just those boys were irritating the customers. That's why she taught them a good lesson. Meanwhile, the academy's principal arrives and takes Wednesday, while apologizing to them. She becomes incensed at her for attempting to flee from the academy. and they see an accident on the way that was of the man with whom Wednesday collided. Seeing it, the principal panics and says, "I pray nothing would happen to the driver on it." Wednesday says he is dead, and his neck is also broken, and then after reaching the academy, Wednesday starts playing the guitar nicely. The principal and others like it. Her roommate comes to the room and sees the hand, so she asks Wednesday, "What is this?" She replies, "This is a member of our Addams family." A stranger boy is shown who tears a page from a book in the library. There was a picture on it. On another side, the hand reaches the waiter's house and he gets scared to see it and beats it. Then the hand points him to sit and gives him Wednesday's number and asks him to call her. The waiter calls her and she says there will be a festival in our academy and all kids will come to this festival and I will escape from there. But if you will drop me to the station, I will give you a nice reward. The waiter agrees, but when she goes to the festival, she finds the principal spying on her. She gives money to a man and asks him to distract the principal. The waiter arrives and gives her a police record of his father as a gift before she left, that he stole from his father's files because his father was a police officer. She collides with the boy who torn the page from the book while leaving with the record. After colliding, Wednesday sees the thoughts of that boy's death, that he will die after a while. That was terrible. She goes behind him and asks him to stop and don't go into the forest. Your life is in danger and you will die. Meanwhile, he performs his magic and places her on a tree and says, "Not me, but you are in danger, because you yourself is danger. I am saving people from you, and that day I throw the statue on you." After that, he shows her a picture and says, "You are in this picture that was made by my mother 25 years ago. It was the time when she reads in this academy, and before her passing, she conveyed the message that I have to stop you. Otherwise, you will destroy the wild world along with this academy." He was about to end Wednesday. However, a colossal monster assails him and ruthlessly brings about his demise. After it, Wednesday is shown in her room because she has left the intention of escaping from there. There were many questions in her mind that, how is she a danger for this world? And why that monster saved her. There was a police report against her father in which he was alleged for a murder. The next day the police officer arrives because Wednesday reported that she saw that stranger boy's death, but the police don't find any proof or dead body, so they ask Wednesday what was she doing in the forest at night. She says, "I saw that boy moving to the forest, and when I chased him, I saw a monster ending him. After it, I get faint, and the principal immediately says that boy isn't murdered, but he ran from here. That's why you shouldn't believe on Wednesdays words, because she often go through from those fits. We are giving her treatment, and she will be fine soon." She says to the officer, "There is someone in the jungle who is ending everyone." When the principal left, it has ended that boy. Meanwhile, that boy arrives who was alive and safe and sound. The next day the doctor asks Wednesday, "Did you spread this rumor just to covert their attention on you? That means you have seen that boy dying." But she says, "I know what I have seen. There's no need to tell you." The next day she discovers that the boy is being terminated from the academy without any reason. She sends her companion, that hand behind him, Wednesday, takes part in an activity, as the principal asked her, and for this purpose she joins a club. There was a boy with him, and she becomes his friend. The hand moves behind that boy and sees that he is changing his getup. Firstly, he changes into an old man and then the academy's principal. After it, the hand tells this to Wednesday. The class was about to start, and Xavier asks her to sit on the seat nearby him, so she sits with him. Xavier was making a spider's picture and then revives it with his magic, but Wednesday ends it in a jerk and blow its ashes. Then there was an argument between a girl and Wednesday, because they both don't like each other, and after it, Wednesday sends her roommate to the club instead of her where she was practicing the activity. She alone moves to the forest nearby academy to find out the monster. Wednesday finds the broken glasses of that stranger boy, the boy whom she saw dying by the monster. As she touches it, she sees a book, and she moves to the library to find it. But there she didn't find any book like it, and she secretly moves into Xavier's room, because that boy and Xavier live in the same room, and Wednesday and the hand were finding the book. Xavier arrives, and because of it, they hide under the bed, and the villain girl arrives. Xavier and asks why is he angry with her. "Okay, don't be angry and let us solve this matter." But he refused. And on his refusal, the villain girl thinks that he is doing this because of Wednesday. So she says, "Tomorrow I will destroy your friends, including Wednesday." Wednesday and the hand who were hiding under the bed hears this. Returning to the room, Wednesday says to her roommate that I will also participate in the tomorrow boat race, and I will defeat that proudy girl, villain girl, at any cost. The next day, the race starts, and it was told there is no law or rule of this competition. The team who will bring the flag first from the cave, it will be the winner. Right after it, the game starts, and the villain plays her tricks and breaks a team's boat with the help of her mermaid friend. Due to it, the team fall in the water, and when the mermaid was coming to Wednesday's boat, the hand trapped her in the net before this, and only 3 teams reached the shore. Was coming with the flag with everyone, but she goes in deep thought in which she sees a girl like her, and she was having a book in her hand. After coming to her senses, she leaves with the flag. Joker's boat gets sinked because of a hole, and the mermaid again attacks Wednesday's boat, but the hand punches the mermaid hard while moving in the water. Wednesday makes hole in villain's boat, while taking out many arrows from her boat, due to which her boat drowned. Wednesday's team wins this race, and this happened for the first time in 4 years that someone defeated the villain. Consequently, she becomes enraged. Now at night, Wednesday moves to a statue having a book in its hand, and when she solves a riddle, a path opens. As she explores further inside, she discovers numerous pictures aside from those of her parents. And she finds the book that she was finding, but someone attacks her when she was taking that book from there. She gets faint, and when comes to her senses, she finds few people who were wearing masks have made her a slave. Hearing their voices, Wednesday recognizes the Lilith and says, "I have recognized you. You can remove your masks." Actually, they were the villain and her companions. During this, she has opened her rope and was leaving, and she says, "While leaving, you all are kids and don't know how to kidnap." After returning, she completes the picture while pasting the page that was torn by that stranger boy. Then she starts reading it. The next day, the principal gives all of them a project in which they have to do job in city shops. Reaching the city, Wednesday shows Xavier that book and asks, "Do you know this book?" And he says yes. "Because of this book, there was a fight between me and that boy, about whom you said that was attacked by the monster. This book belongs to a magician, and it is more than 30 years old. What are you doing this with it?" Hearing this, she asks what else does he know about the magician. He says nothing much, and if you want to know about him, you have to go to his home. That is an old special house. The students of the academy starts working in the different shops. Wednesday was a waitress, but none bought anything, seeing her anger. Wednesday's friend was having a pastry, but the naughty boys arrive and start teasing him. Meanwhile, Wednesday arrives and beats them a lot. Then she goes to the magician's house with her friend to know the truth that what's the matter, and about the book. There she sees many things and paintings related to the magician. In the painting, she sees the same girl holding a guitar whom she saw near the cave in her thought when she brought the flag. Then she finds the book of the painting boy, but it was empty because it was fake. Meanwhile, a lady arrives and Wednesday asks her about the real book. On it she says that book was stolen, and this isn't the real house of the magician where you are standing at this time. After it, Wednesday goes to the hotel to meet the waiter and asks him about the real house of the magician, and he tells her about the real house. From there, Wednesday alone moves to that house. There, she encounters an elderly man who utters, "This is my place, my home, so please depart from here." Hearing this, Wednesday's companion attacks his face and the man runs from there being scared of it. Wednesday doesn't find anything from here, so she was leaving, but mooing out of the door, she goes in her thoughts, in which she sees that magician locks a girl in this house, while proving her a witch. Many other people were locked here before her, and they all were outcast, and the magician considers them devil. After locking all of them in the house, he set the house on fire. The girl who was proved a witch by the magician tries to release her mother, but couldn't, because all were tied with the land with the help of chains. Only that girl was free, so she has to run from the basement. After it, that cruel magician set all the outcast people on fire, and the girl comes to Wednesday and says he is so cruel and will end all of us. Meanwhile, the magician arrives and Wednesday gets scared from him and gets back to the present time. Coming to her senses, she says to the hand, "I have seen that girl. She even talked to me, and I feel she is my family member." Then the monster of the forest arrives and attacks the house, but seeing Wednesday, it runs from there. Wednesday and the hand chase it, but they see the monster footprints changes into human footprints. The next day, the statue of the magician will be placed as a sign of respect because the citizens consider him their hero. Wednesday was called there to play the guitar, but as they start doing their task after placing it, the hand sets it on fire because on Wednesday's command, it has sprinkled petrol on the statue. Everyone runs from there to see the fire. Wednesday was still sitting and playing the guitar and becoming happy to see the statue burning. Now the principal suspect's Wednesday, but she has no proof against her. The old house of the magician in which she went, where there was that old man. He was still there, but the monster arrives and attacks the old man. While dying, the old man clicks 2-3 pictures of that monster in his camera. The police reach immediately to investigate, and they also get the monster's picture from that old man's camera. The next day, the hand places something on the camera of the morgue, so none will see what it will do. It opens the door and Wednesday comes inside, and she has come here to see the wounds of the old man who was ended by the monster, and she records all the data while seeing the dead body of the old man. The hand was making a file of her. Meanwhile, the doctor along with the police officer arrive, and Wednesday sleeps in a box to hide, but the doctor finds the box open and checks it immediately. He sees Wednesday lying there and feels this is also a corpse. That's why he leaves while shutting the box. When the hand comes to take her, she says, "Don't tease me. Let me sleep more because I am enjoying it." After it, she discovers from her investigation that actually that monster is collecting body parts. The next day she goes to Academy and finds paw marks on Xavier's neck. Later, Xavier is shown coming out of a cabin, now because Wednesday suspects his wounds. So she reaches there while chasing him. She sees many drawings of the monster and pictures, but as she was returning, while taking a picture, Xavier sees her. He intervenes to halt her, but in an effort to divert his attention, Wednesday says, "Will you join me tonight at the dance party?" Then the monster drawing made by Xavier to the police officer. On it, he says, "We can't capture anyone with this. Bring some valid proof now." Wednesday places all her research in front of her friend so that he can help her. Her friend says, "Seeing one of the drawings that I know about this place," and he takes Wednesday at that place. And thus part 1 ends here. And what happens with Wednesday in the cave? Stay tuned for second part.